I have no idea what to expect.
Yeah, top 10 what?
I don't know, Daniel. I mean, you're the one running the show. Which, by the way, is called The Experience Podcast with Daniel and someone else. So, thank you all for tuning in today. I know I'm pretty excited to be here. Daniel most likely is. Ryan, I can only assume is as well. But with that, let's get into the meat and potatoes of today's episode. Daniel, that top 10 list. I'm excited.
This is the Experience Podcast. Me and someone else. Who do we have?
We got me, Alex.
Oh, is this where I'm supposed to come in?
And Ryan, that's you. That was your cue.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this is me, Ryan.
We have Ryan Murphy on the show. Listen, Ryan, I'd love to have you on all the time, but I think you got busy at some point. I don't remember why you didn't come on. It's been a few years.
Yeah, you texted me once, and then I was busy for some reason or another at that point, but then I never got a return call, so.
I admitted back through it. I was like, no, this was definitely my fault. Well, usually if people say no like 2 or 3 times, I just give up on them. But I didn't have a good enough excuse for you. For you were definitely, that was my fault. Alex, you're on the show all the time. I don't need to talk about you.
Yeah, like not at all. Like you really don't have to say anything about me at all.
It's very whispery podcast today, is what I'm noticing. So nice and quiet and whispery. Very, very calm episode today. Okay, nothing too ruckus. So does anyone have?
I'll make sure to keep it down.
Yeah.
It's Daniel. It's a kind of the Sunday tea time episode. I know you like to host those occasionally, so when people listen to those episodes, they're not looking for something to rock their world. They're looking to maybe grab a cup of tea, some pastries, and just kind of have a chat with friends. Something cozy. So I think we're trying to curate that atmosphere for them.
That's true. We should do this more often. Oftentimes we have these loud type people on. Like the Tanners and the Nadias. It's like it's too much, right? We need to like really just kind of calm down. Again, I mentioned, I think it was before we started rolling, we have the 3 shy boys on today. So it's nice and quiet and maybe not a lot. It's going to be a lot of silence today, but I think our listeners want that. Sometimes you just want to listen to a podcast where there's no talking.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of like it creates this nice ambiance, this sort of, honestly, there's a little bit of tension because, you expect the space to be filled, but it never is. And so it's intriguing in that respect, I think.
It's a nice atmosphere.
It's all right. The listeners don't have to feel bad about tuning us out at all. They can rest assured that they're not really missing much.
Oh, most people, we have data on this. I don't know if I've talked to Alex about it, but I think Ryan, we've mentioned it. Most of our listeners actually listen to the podcast in another room, right? So they have it playing in the background in a different room. They're not even able to hear what we're saying, right?
Perfect.
So this plays very well. This episode will play very well into how most of our listeners actually listen to the podcast, which is not at all.
No, that should be fun for them. It's kind of like throwing on the TV when you're doing chores, just to have, just decibels. That's it.
Yeah,
nothing else.
You can't even make out the words that we're saying because it's a completely different room, But that's fine. That's how we like to do things here.
Quite an experience, might I say.
So Ryan, do you want to fill us in? Again, you haven't been on the show in a long time. And again, that's my fault. I'll take the bullet for that. Do you want to fill us in on what has been happening in Murphyland?
In Murphyland? Well, Murphyland has moved to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, go Pirates.
Yeah, sure. My baseball teams kind of remain unaffiliated. seeing as coming from San Diego, it's always a disappointment whoever I want to win. Yeah, I'm still doing the same software engineering job. Same old stuff. Speaking of baseball, I joined a adult baseball league here also last year. That was fun. So I needed something to get me out of the house. Yeah. Megan is doing. What was that?
Was it baseball or like a softball league? Oh,
yeah, it's baseball.
It's baseball.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I haven't played at all since Little League, and so I was like, I saw it online. I'm like, oh, this seems to be something that I would want to do. Bit of activity during the weekends to keep me active.
I tried to join a basketball league, but they didn't have any like individual sign up spots. You could only join as a team of like 12, and you had to pay the full team fee. So it's like I paid $300 to join as a team of one, and there was no other option. I just didn't do it.
Team of one sounds like it may not have gone well against other teams.
Yeah, you would have had to be pretty versatile on the court there, Daniel.
Yeah, so I didn't do it, and I kept checking. I checked like every week. I was like, maybe there's going to be, because there's supposed to be like free agent spots so you can sign up, but they never came up. So that just didn't happen.
Seems like a miss on their
part. I signed up. Yeah, I signed up a bit late for my the baseball season, so I got thrown on a team with all the other free agents. There's all the leftovers, the people no one wanted, and people who signed up late. So that was an interesting experience. We won one game in the season.
Oh.
So it's a win. Got a single win under our belt. And we also tied a game.
Oh, all right. Was that your guys' team name, the Leftovers? Seems pretty apt.
Here's our nickname.
Nice. That's super cool. It's always fun to get out of the house, as you said, Ryan, and play sports. It's one of the best ways to do it. I am curious on your take, specifically with baseball stats in the advanced stats versus more traditional stats metrics, because I know Daniel is highly opinionated on this subject, so I wanted to get your take as well. See if we have any, if we're all of the same mindset here, or if you and Daniel are really at odds.
What exactly, are you saying by advanced stats here?
Stuff like, as opposed to batting average, OPS plus, slugging percentage. Daniel, if you want to give your side of things, but I don't really want to, if Ryan has opinion, I don't want yours to scare him off, because I know you're pretty hardcore about your stance.
I can go ahead. Yeah, so I feel like all these newfangled words they're coming up with, like F4, OPS plus, all this, it's good stats. It's probably more relevant to winning a game and doing well as a career, but it's much harder for the layman to understand, and for me to know is oh, I see a 350 batting average. I know that's great. And it's I guess maybe I just haven't learned what other things mean as much, but I haven't been super into tracking all the newfangled stats and all that kind of stuff.
All right, Daniel, you want to step into the cage? Thank you, Ryan. I think that's a very level-headed take, which we're about to hear one that might not be so level-headed. Daniel?
Well, first of all, let's remember this is the Sunday afternoon tea time episode. So
I'm sort of stoking the flames here. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I understand what Ryan is saying, because I think new information is always tough for people. Right? If I say a pitcher has 17 inches of induced vertical break, what does that mean to to anyone, right? But like, I think it's really just about being able to explain different stats. I mean, honestly, OPS and slugging are pretty basic. I wouldn't consider those advanced stats, but like, I don't know. Baseball's had advanced stats for decades now, so it's sort of just being able to get more accustomed and used to new ones. I'm trying to think of the most successful, like weighted on base average. Is that easy to understand? I don't know.
I'd see. I mean, that's not. Is that OBP plus or something like that? Is that what they would call that?
No. So weighted on base average is basically, it's like OPS, but it doesn't. But so the problem with OPS is that it uses like whole numbers to differentiate outcomes. So like a single is worth 1 point, a double is worth 2 point, no, not exactly, but like doubles worth 2, and triples 3, and a home is 4, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's yes, calculates it. But weighted on base average says it's not actually like that. A double isn't really worth twice as much as a single. It's really worth like 1.4 or whatever it is. I don't know what the weights are, but it'll use more customized weights based on how the league is performing that year. But then it's put, instead of put like an OPS scale, it's put on like an on-base scale. So like the number, so if you would know if it's good, if it's similar to like an on-base percentage. So like 400 and whatever would be good.
I guess that makes sense because, yeah, slugging by itself is definitely in arbitrary, we gave these numbers to these bases, or it's how many bases you've gotten, but bases may not be equivalent to how many runs you could score, or like what the percentage chance of scoring a run off of your single versus double. So I guess that does make sense.
That's all that is. That's like, but so like you don't need, but like the point is you don't need to understand a formula, right? Again, I don't even remember because the weights change all the time, but like it's put on a similar scale and it takes more information into account. That's all. It's different information.
Yeah, I think that's, while it's not as easy as like batting average where it's like hits per, appearance or whatever, it's still pretty, I mean, it's pretty intuitive, I think. I think they could show that on the ESPN like slider when it comes up, when it shows their stats as they get to bat and stuff. I will agree with Ryan though about like the numbers not being quite intuitive. Like I don't know what's good. Like he mentioned a 350 batting average. Obviously that's quote unquote good, but I think that's more of a matter of just having grown up with batting average a little more. You just get a feel for what the numbers are. So I do think the more advanced stats, like if you're just exposed to them a little more, especially as a kid, you'll kind of get a feel for them, more intuitive understanding.
On broadcast, and I guess in stadiums too, they'll show like like the launch angle, the angle that the ball comes off the bat. Now they show that if it's a home run, they show the distance. Even that you can consider an advanced stat if you want.
Nice. Very good. Daniel, thank you for kind of moderating your response for this Sunday Tea Time episode. I know there have been a few instances, particularly with Tanner, Will, where you guys were kind of spar on that subject. So I appreciate your relaxed approach on this subject today.
Daniel likes me too much to argue with me.
I never explicitly talked with Daniel about you, Ryan, but I definitely always got that vibe.
I talk all the time.
I mean, we've had a couple podcasts where it's just Daniel kind of going on and on about you, Ryan, and Tanner and I don't really want to stop him, so we kind of just let him go. So, yeah.
That happens. It's all right.
So admittedly, Ryan, the reason I remember I reached out to you, well, I was scrolling through my list, but I got a notification from my phone because it loves reminding me of things from February 2018, 6 years ago. Do you remember what we were doing?
Was it the basketball tournament?
It was actually the basketball tournament. I went back and watched my vlog that we made, and like in the first
remember
the first like 30 seconds of the vlog, you're already insulting me. I was like, that's perfect.
I've tried to tone it back, you know.
Oh no, it's great. You should keep it. It's the it's that Sunday tea time banter that we're trying to wrestle. Yeah, 6 years ago. Seems like just 6 years ago it happened.
Yeah. The only reason I could guess it that easily is because I feel like that's probably the only thing I remember you tagging me in Facebook on.
That's pretty good because I have Facebook, so I don't know how I did that.
Wow.
Oh, well, whatever.
So, you know what yeah, I don't know. I don't know how you would have gotten tagged on Facebook. Maybe someone else took the photo, or maybe it was someone else. I don't know.
Or I remember the YouTube video. Good times, you know. I think I wasn't even in marching band at that point, but BJ was like, there's no first trumpets going. Can you go, please? I'm like, okay.
It was pep band. It was spring band. Yeah, I don't think it did it. But no one wanted to go on that trip for whatever reason. Alex, you didn't want to go, so.
Yeah, I don't think I had the bandwidth at that time.
Yeah, that's good.
You said spring 2018? Yeah, I was not even at the school yet, so that would have been tricky for me to accomplish.
Good. Yeah, that's a great reminder. We'll see the next time my phone. I don't even know if you were. I assume you're in. I think you're in the other videos. I don't know which ones. Alex, don't worry. I think you're in quickly.
I was just gonna say, am I in one of those videos? A few have been brought up, and I think they were all like before my time.
Yeah, but I made them. I definitely made one. Maybe. Which bowl was the last? Which was the?
Yeah, I think the Quick Lane one. I don't think I was there.
No, so which you were in? You know what? We're gonna scrub through it, watch them live on air, and the problem is we didn't have as many trips. Let's see, in 2020.
Well, part of that is, well, I guess basketball. I remember they had the ACC tournament win year. That was fun. But at least for football, it was a lot of Jeff Collinsing around, and that was not one of the less fruitful periods of Georgia Tech football.
Did you go to Miami?
No, I didn't.
You might. So the only one you might appear in is the Clemson one, because obviously everyone went to that one.
Which Miami one?
20. I don't think you went to that.
Man, you know you've had a good one when you can ask which Miami. Sounds nice.
By then, I'm playing trumpet. Right?
What was that?
I don't remember when you switched to drumline. I think it was that.
I think it was 2019, yeah.
Yeah, so that's not to say you wouldn't be in the video, but I don't think you were. The Miami one is when I had BJ and Chris Moore in the video, so. I don't think BJ understood what was going on.
I like the thumbnail there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
BJ staring straight at the camera.
I think that's getting off the plane. He's like, hi. Anyway, anything else you guys wanted to cover today while we whisper through the rest of the episode?
I hate to backtrack, but I am curious. There's kind of a scandal in MLB right now. Ryan, I'm curious if the pants you guys wore last year during your adult baseball league, if they were see-through or not, and how you felt about that if they were.
And if they were, do you have photos for Alex? For Alex's purposes?
To my knowledge, they weren't. But it wasn't like a uniform or anything. You could just buy whatever baseball pants you wanted as long as they're a similar color to the rest of your team.
Did you have a see-through option when you went out and purchased said pants?
I didn't check. I'm not quite aware of this controversy. Can you explain?
Yeah, I've just seen I think Nike designed new uniforms for this year, and they're more see-through than the players would like. So they've drawn some ire. The players aren't exactly happy about it.
I feel like I wouldn't be particularly happy about that either.
They're not like completely see-through, right? They're just a little more translucent than they want. Because I told someone else this, and they were imagining like just like a clear plastic almost. So I was like, no, it's
like parka, yeah.
Yeah, like a rain poncho style. Like,
yeah.
oh, it's just like it's like a very faint white. I don't know if they're changing it though. I don't know if there was something else too. I forget. There's some other controversy about uniforms. I don't know what it was. But yeah. It's a no see-through uniform, right? But you could have. It sounds like you had the option to buy one, and you chose.
I mean, no one would have said anything. Well, people may have said something, but it would have been allowed if I wanted to.
It's 2024.
May not have said anything to your face, but they would have said something.
I'm looking at my stats for last year. I didn't do too bad, besides the first few games where I was like learning how to play against live pitchers again. Had a 400 batting average.
Yeesh, that's historic.
Yeah, if only it was it was there's like 3 different leagues in the city, and we were the most casual of leagues, so pitchers weren't throwing too hard. Fielders were making errors everywhere, and then we counted errors as hits because we want more hits,
Smart.
Well, the numbers. Okay. The official score is cooking your books.
What was that?
The official score is cooking the books for you.
Oh yeah, exactly. Hey, in a casual league, it's like, oh, we'll give you the hit if it was, it was hit hard enough so that they missed it. So it wasn't really an error; it was a hit.
Yeah, that's a skill. That's a skill for the batter.
So are you going to continue your career here, Ryan? Like, what are you doing in the off season to train? I mean, can you describe that process?
I've played catch a total of like 3 times.
Okay.
That's about it so far.
It's pretty intense.
That is a pretty rigorous training program. Yeah, props.
Well, yeah, like prior to last season, I had only I went to the first practice and hadn't played baseball since like 15 years ago. So that was fun. But got into it eventually. Remembered how to swing a bat, field a fly ball.
Important skills in the modern business ecosystem.
Exactly.
I like that you actually have put in a little bit of training for the upcoming season, because I've done a indoor soccer league a few times here in Austin, Texas, and that first game, it wakes me up to the fact that I don't do cardio enough, like very severely. So I'm glad to see that you're sticking with a training regimen in the off season.
Yeah, very rigorous. Gotta be prepared. I assume baseball's a little less cardio intensive when you just gotta run 90 feet after hitting a ball once. Instead of running around all game long.
Fair point, but Daniel, I mean, you said I think you've led your Little League in steals for a couple of consecutive years. Is that right? So maybe you can provide a counter argument because you clearly were doing a lot of running there on the base paths.
Honestly, I might have led my steals years ago. Though. Just like Ryan, I haven't played in this last time I played probably when I was 15, 16. That's when I was playing. So not quite as long.
That's pretty old. I basically stopped playing when I was 8. So good for you, Daniel.
Maybe 15 because I switched over to umpiring for a couple of years, like the last couple of years in high school. Because that was a nice little job to have. It wasn't much work. You show up for a game, your parents yell at you, you go home.
Nice.
So.
Yeah, call third strike way out of the box.
Yeah.
Because you want to go home. Well, these games, I'm trying to think of. They were. I don't think there were any games that really dragged on, but I won't say that I never did that. Not way out of the box. There were definitely some coaches. The parents were generally actually okay, but the coaches would sometimes get really frustrated. And I'm like, dude, I'm 16 years old. This is a 7 to 8 year old league. Like, what are we doing here? A casual league, not even like one of the the more competitive ones. This is like a rec league. Like, what are you getting worked up about here?
Did you ever accept like under the table payments or anything to kind of silence some of that?
What? I wish someone would that. Yeah, I wish someone would have offered anything, but I never got any good offers.
But you're saying that you probably would have, or you're saying you would have if the opportunity arose. Is that what I'm hearing, Mr. Silverstein?
I actually got paid very well. Like it was, I think, at the time. So maybe inflation obviously, but it was $40 a game, which is actually pretty good.
Wow.
Like a high school, like a high school job, and the games were basically 2 hours, like plus or minus 15 minutes, really. So $20 an hour job is like better than you can get like Chick-fil-A. So as a high schooler.
Yeah, that's solid.
It was pretty good, which is weird because then my friends would tell me that it's not a real job because I guess I didn't, go up to a building or whatever. I was like, what are you talking? I don't know.
Probably getting paid more than them. They're just jealous.
Yeah, I don't know what it was.
It's lonely at the top, Daniel, which I'm, at this point in your life, you are obviously quite aware of that.
Well, yeah, I mean, the podcast really has done really well and supports most of my income. But, maybe I'll.
So do I get a appearance check?
Well, yeah, right. Check is in the mail. It's in the mail. It should be there.
For all the content that I'm providing here.
Yeah, it'll be in 5 to 10 business days. You should be seeing that check.
Interesting, because Daniel, you always say I'm getting paid in exposure, so I guess we'll have to talk about that after the show.
Oh, Alex, I mean, come on, that's in your contract that you signed. I can't change that. That's the problem, right? I mean,
Alex, when you're as successful as I am, you'll understand.
Yeah, and Ryan does have the special appearance fee is the issue. So
yeah, he's really capitalized on his brand recognition. I gotta give him props for that.
Alex, I can't give you advice as the host, but I could tell you that Ryan's agent did a really great job negotiating that. So maybe you guys can get in touch with regard to that.
Appreciate that.
Anything else you guys wanted to whisper about today?
Daniel, I'm excited for well, Ryan, if you have anything, I don't want to step on your toes.
Now go for it.
I'm just excited for Daniel's top 10 list that he sent in the show notes. I'm really looking forward to getting to that.
We will be getting to that.
You've had me excited now for it too.
We can get to it now if you guys really want to get to it.
Hey, your show, Daniel.
Okay, well, I'm showing that. So here's the list. It's top 10 tissues. Okay, top 10 tissues. Right, and so so you can imagine this is pretty tough because there's not a lot of tissue type brands out there. But we're gonna push through it here. So number 10. Okay, are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Number 10 is any store brand with no extra additional, fluff, right? It's just the generic store brand. Just not great, right? It's very thin.
You mean sandpaper? Is that what you're saying?
Sandpaper, basically. It's just terrible. Like, you can't get the generic store brand with no additional benefits. And that's number 10.
So even though it's like top 10, there's just so few that top 10 is actually bad.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Yes, the bottom half of the top 10 are not that great.
I see.
Okay, number 9, and this may come as a shocker, but it's Puffs Extra Soft. Now, they are very soft, okay?
Yeah,
I'll give you. The problem is it's almost like they shed. So like they're very powdery. I don't know. It's almost like it gets back in your nose and it causes more. Like it's almost like a cycle where you use it on your nose and it gets back into your nose and you gotta use another tissue. It's maybe 15.
Sounds deliberate, honestly, by the designers.
That's
how they keep your business, yeah.
Apparently, it's like, well, I got to get 4 boxes of this because you got to use 10 tissues each time you're going to use one. So yeah, I mean, again, they're very soft and they feel fine, but it's the extra powderiness. If you don't believe me, try out a Puffs tissue. You'll see what I mean. Or this extra soft, I think it is. Okay, number 8. It's Kleenex with soothing lotion, whatever it's called. The Kleenex with the lotion. Now this also seems like a good idea, but here, you can, this is the one where it's a little greasy, a little too greasy for me. I don't want to be rubbing oil all over my face like that. If you're going to use a tissue, so that's it. Now, that could be a personal preference thing. So
yeah, I think you just outed yourself as having particularly oil skin there, Daniel, which is fine, but just maybe not everyone is listening to your podcast is of that same demographic. Just letting you know.
Okay, number 7. And now this one is Puffs with the oil, with the lotion. The Puffs, honestly, with the lotion is a little better than the Kleenex with the lotion because it's a little thicker. But it's kind of a similar problem. Which one was that? Was that number 7?
Lotion doesn't help keep all the burrs on.
Yeah, just doesn't do it. Is that number 7? I think it was.
You're the one with the list.
I do. I definitely have this list typed out and printed in front of me. Number 6. This is the top line generic store brand. Okay, the store brands are actually okay, as long as and this I'm kind of leaving it broad here. You can fill in whatever additional benefits you want or whatever features. But the store brand actually does okay, as long as you get one that's not like the super thin type, right? Again, for sort of the same idea. And it needs to be multiple ply because tissues can, there's, if you're a very violent person, you could easily break these single ply tissues. So you need to keep that in your shopping.
So like us 3 here.
Yes. Yeah. The 3 of us, very violent and physical. I would put us in that category. Yes. Thank you, Alex. All right. Now we're in the top 5. The problem is
you kind of hinted at this top 5 earlier. I expect to see some hands thrown, honestly.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to save this for next time too. Though. It's a little tease.
I mean, it's your show. I'm okay with that.
We can get into it. Do you guys want to? Are we going to go into the top 5 tissues?
I'm at the edge of my seat right now.
All right, we're gonna get into the top 5 issues or tissues. I see issues. So number 5. Number 5 is Kleenex Trusted Care. Now this one's a weird one. It's like I would say it's kind of like fine, right? It doesn't have anything special about it, but it gets the job done. Again, it doesn't have the powderiness or the extra oiliness. It's just kind of clean, straightforward, does the job, whatever you need to do, whatever you need it to do, it can do it, right? Again, it just doesn't have anything that's like super special about it. Okay, that's number 5.
Okay, yeah. Good start.
Number 4. Now this one, I don't know if this is like I don't know if this is like a controversial one. Again, this is one where you guys might kind of get up out of your seats. But I'm gonna go. I think it's called Scott's tissues. Now the toilet paper, that's a different category. But the Scott's tissues, it's like their like signature brand, whatever it is. It's kind of in the same boat as number 5. It doesn't have anything special, but it's strong. It's actually pretty strong, and it gets the job done. And, nothing too crazy.
Why would you say something like this if it's just a generic tissue over, say, maybe a more affordable store brand thing?
I'm with Ryan here.
Ryan, you haven't heard number 3 yet.
Okay, all right.
Number 3. I mean, you just spoiled number 3. We'll just get into number 3. Number 3 is the generic store brand. Okay,
Wow.
Now I know I already said number 10 was the generic store brand without any special features, and then I don't remember what I thought I mentioned another generic store brand. I don't remember.
But you say it was like 6 or something.
It was like
the top store brand.
Now that was one like the extra strength one. No. The point I was trying to make is number 3 is the extra strength store brand. So it has that extra strength. It's got multiple ply. This one, again, doesn't have anything special, but the price. This is where price comes into play here, right? The store brand does beat out the competition in terms of price. So as long as you can it's sort of like this minimum threshold that you need to get over for the store brand. You can't get, sort of the obviously cheaply that's too cheap and that you'll end up spending more tissues to get the same job done. It's like those Bounty commercials, whatever. But in this case, the store brand, you can get away with that that's number 3. Okay, number 2. We're on number 2. Number 2 is the Kleenex Antiviral. Now, I'm not a huge fan. I don't know why you would need an antiviral on your tissue. But the reason that it's number 2 is that it just feels better than the other ones. This is all feeling. Okay? It is a little more expensive. So if you're all
feeling. Okay. So it's all feeling. It's at this point, it's not even like you're not even using numbers to test it.
Well, now keep in mind, Alex, we did test all these in a lab, and we have clinically proven studies to back up our data. But
okay, sure, all right, okay.
Yeah, Kleenex, the antiviral. Again, I don't know. I don't know sort of why the antiviral is included, but it just feels better. But you do have to shell out some money. All right, number 1. Number 1 is the Kleenex Ultra Soft. So I mentioned the problem for, was it 10 or 9? I think it was 9. Was the Huff's Extra Ultra Soft it's just too powdery. Kleenex has that same soft feeling, but there's no extra powder. Right? That's the benefit. It's strong enough; it can hold anything you blow at it, and it still features that same softness that you get out of the softest. It's probably the softest one out of the top 10. So
sounds like the best of both worlds there.
Yeah. It is. And it's not super expensive. It's cheaper than the antiviral, so you might as well go for the Ultra Soft Kleenex.
Honestly, that's pretty solid, Daniel. I think you've done a great job.
Top 10 tissues. I won't go back and list through them. You'll just have to listen back if you want to know which ones were where. But again, there's not that many, so the bottom half is not great. I would not advise those bottom half tissues, or bottom half of the list. Do you guys have any other questions before we end the show? That was
any of them kind of sponsoring this podcast? It sounds like
actually sponsored by,
almost convinced.
Yeah, we are sponsored by Kleenex, Puffs, and All Tissue Brands.
Oh, man. All Tissue Brands? Okay.
Actually, all. Yeah.
So it's not a conflict of interest if they're all giving you money.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And we do receive a portion of the funds if you purchase tissues through our podcast website. So you can check the link. It should be in the description of the episode. And you can go ahead and you can make your own decision on top tissues.
Well, thanks, Daniel. I think some individual somewhere said something about educated citizens being better citizens. And I think that applies to listeners as well. Educated listeners are better listeners here. So I think we've done a great service for this podcast going forward. They know how to take care of themselves better, and they'll keep coming back for more interesting top 10 lists provided by the host of this podcast, Mr. Daniel Silverstein. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks again.